Good morning, everybody. I just want to take a few minutes to go over the naming polynomial worksheet. So a polynomial is basically many terms. So a group of monomials separated by either a plus or a minus. And we can name a polynomial in two ways. We can name it by what we call the degree, or we could name it by the number of terms. So the degree is the highest exponent of the variable. So for example, if we look down here at 2x plus 1, the term that has the variable, so these are all written in standard form, so the variable with the highest exponent comes first. This is what I call my leading term. This is what I call my lead coefficient. So the 2x is the leading term. The 2 is the lead coefficient. The degree here is a 1 because even though I don't see it, I have an exponent of a 1 on this variable. So my degree here is a 1. Because on the next one we have a degree of 2, okay, the highest, the exponent of the variable is a 2 here, we have a degree of 2, I name that calling a quadratic. This would call a cubic because I have an exponent of a 3. So a degree of 3 is a cubic. Degree of 4 is what we call a quartic. Degree of 5 is what we call a quintic. So you might be wondering, what degree is this? Because I don't have a variable here, really I could think about this as 3x to the power of 0, which is just 3. This has a degree of 0. We call that a constant. Remember that a constant doesn't change. So constant, degree of 0, linear, degree of 1, quadratic, degree of 2, cubic, degree of 3, quartic, degree of 4, quintic, degree of 5. Anything above 5, we say 6th degree, 7th degree, 8th degree, and so on and so forth. If we take a look at the ones on the right over here, I'm naming these by the number of terms. So the ones on the left were named by the degree. These examples on the right are named by the number of terms. So if we look, we have one term here. I have a product of 3 times x. That's one term. I call that a monomial. Think about mono, like a monologue. One person says a monologue. The next one, notice here I have 2 terms. I have 2 monomials separated by a negative. This is what we call a binomial. Okay, 2 terms are binomials. So think about 2 wheels on a bicycle, binomial. On my next example here, x squared plus 3x plus 9, I have 3 terms. Think about 3 wheels on a bicycle is called a tricycle or trinomial. Okay, 3 terms. And on the next example, I have 4 terms. So anything above 3 terms, we just call it a 4-term polynomial or a 5-term polynomial or a 6-term polynomial. So if we take a look at these 2 examples here, we can name them by the number of terms and by the degree. So if I name it by the degree, the highest exponent of the variable is a 3. I'm going to call this a cubic. I have 2 terms, so I call it a binomial. So this is a cubic binomial. Over here I have 1 term, so it's a monomial, and it's also a constant. I have a degree of 0. And on the last example here, I have negative x to the 4th plus 3x squared minus 11. So this is a degree of 4. This is a quartic. I have 3 terms. I call it a trinomial. So just to go over what we talk about for standard form here, when the polynomial is written in order from the highest exponent on the left to the lowest exponent on the right, we call that standard form. So that's it.